and online discounts at the Warriors shop, Chase lounges before select concerts and Warriors games, in-app benefits, eatery discounts, advanced access to tickets, and preferred seating when you use your Chase card. See more cardholder perks at chase.com/Chase Center. Restrictions and limitations apply. Deposit and credit card products provided by J.P. Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
Dub Nation knows good things come in threes, whether it's a game-winning three-pointer or all the games, glitz, and great entertainment you can enjoy at Northern California's premier casino resort. Cache Creek is the place to play a hot hand on our world-class gaming floor, indulge at our luxurious spa, or catch a live performance from your favorite acts. It's all here, just a short drive away. This is your time to cash in at Cache Creek Casino Resort, official sponsor of your Golden State Warriors.
I know a lot of you really want the State Farm personal price plan, but what's with the oversharing? Like this message Brian left me.
Hey, Jake from State Farm. I love the smell of my cat's breath. Yeah.
You don't need to get that personal. The State Farm personal price plan helps you create an affordable price just for you. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Call or go to statefarm.com for a quote today.
Prices vary by state. Options selected by customer. Availability and eligibility may vary.
United is proud to be the official airline of the Golden State Warriors. But this story goes beyond basketball. It's about United and the Warriors teaming up and showing up for Bay Area communities of color. Through the franchise fund, we're helping minority-owned businesses, from manufacturers to a local cosmetics brand, get the funds and resources they need to thrive. Because when good ideas find their champion, we all win. This is the story of an airline and a community when good leads the way.
Hot wings, hot and sour soup, and a hot fudge sundae. Your neighbor's DoorDash order for Golden State Warriors game days has gotten superstitiously specific. But hey, every order on DoorDash is a win for local businesses and Dashers. And if you're superstitious, it just might put the Warriors on a hot streak too.
Deep three on the way. Heat check.
Score one for the neighborhood on game day with DoorDash.
Heat check. Three.
Official partner of the Golden State Warriors.
What's up, Dub Nation? It's Stephen Curry. I love the sound of the Warriors crowd, so I've asked for them to help with this Rakuten commercial, the app that gives you cash back at thousands of stores. Yep, Rakuten is hooking you up with a special gift if you make a qualifying purchase of $25. And Rakuten offers cash back at Warriors Shop. All right, now it's a little too much. Visit rakuten.com/Warriors.
You've been listening to the Golden State Warriors Audio Network.
Presented by United Airlines.
This has been a presentation of Odyssey Sports. For even more coverage of your team, download the free Odyssey app and listen to your favorite stations, shows, and podcasts.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM in HD1 San Francisco. Always live on Twitch, YouTube, and the free Odyssey app.
That's a wrap.
Yo, that's a wrap. It was an amazing experience. Hope everybody enjoyed it. Hope we got some laughs and good entertainment.
This is Warriors Wrap-Up on 95.7 The Game.
Curry with the ball on the far wing. Puts on the dribble. Gets through two defenders right down the lane. Flipped it up and in like he's out there having fun. Does a little shimmy underneath the bucket.
Yeah, fun for Steph Curry and fun for the Golden State Warriors tonight as they dispatch of the Toronto Raptors here inside Chase Center. 129-117 is the final. A big second half for the Warriors, and in particular the fourth quarter as they outscore Toronto 31-23 in the fourth, 66-55 in the second half. It was a 1-point lead at the intermission, turns into a 12-point Warriors victory. We welcome you inside Warriors Wrap-Up here on 95.7 The Game. John Dickinson with you for the next hour or so as we talk about this one and the Warriors taking 2 of 3 on the homestand here since coming off the road trip is they win this ball game tonight, and now back on the road as they'll have the weekend off and head for Oklahoma City. They'll take on the Thunder, Timberwolves, and Nuggets coming up here over the course of the next week. But the Warriors, I think you have to like, after dropping the first one, the ability to bounce back and beat Memphis and make it 2 in a row over a Toronto team that maybe has underachieved a little bit at 22 and 28 now through 50 games on the season, but a lot to like from the Warriors as far as how they got the job done in this game tonight. We'll get to that in just a moment, but first want to make sure we let everybody know that you can participate in the program at 888-957-9570 to give me a call or shoot me a text here. The Xfinity mobile text line is open, 888-957-9570. But a lot to like for the Warriors in this one. Stephen Curry being Stephen Curry, and I think maybe looking like he's got a little bit more zip as he gets back into the grand scheme of things and bouncing back from all the time off that he had missed. Typically throughout Curry's career, he's pretty quick at getting back to his usual numbers and efficiency and everything, but gotten the sense it's taken him a little bit longer to get fully energized and back to where he was pre-injury in his return. So we're coming up on what would be the 3-week mark here, basically 2.5 weeks since Curry came back, and I thought, and Steve Kerr mentioned this in his post-game press conference, that tonight was a night where Curry maybe physically looked the most like his old self, and getting the conditioning and the timing and the game flow and getting used to playing every other day and getting back into the fold. So Curry, terrific, 35 points, 11 assists, 7 boards. You had to have that. Klay Thompson did his thing tonight, and I'll tell you what I liked about Klay Thompson's game tonight is, yes, the 29 points, but he turned a bad game shooting the basketball into a good game. And we've seen this a lot with Klay in some of the games, and I think this is a sign that he's also coming along and becoming a little bit more consistent. Just the simple fact that he got off to a brutal start in this game, shooting the ball, 3 of 8, 0 of 4 from 3 in the first quarter. He was 5 of 13 at halftime, but then Klay able to get it going in the second half, and he turns a 5 of 13 into an 11 of 24, and he ends up 6 of 14 from 3 after a 2 for 8 start. So he finishes making 4 of his last 6 from 3-point range, and I think we've seen Klay get frustrated, take bad shots if he gets off to a bad start on certain nights, and tonight, and I think we've seen more consistently of late the fact that Klay's been able to turn games that earlier in the season would have just been bad games because of bad starts into, when you look up at the end of the night, 11 of 24, that's not bad. 6 of 14 from 3, that's really good. He also had 8 boards and continues to put a positive imprint on the game in other areas. So anytime you get a big win, you always look at the headliners and the stars first, but I think you could make the case that this game is even more about the others for the Golden State Warriors, and a couple of others, really a trio of others for the Warriors as far as their bench goes in the game tonight. Dante DiVincenzo, Jonathan Kuminga, and JaMychal Green to a lesser extent, but still to an extent, all with a real positive and significant impact on this game. And one of the bigger picture takeaways as you start to look at DiVincenzo's ability to be a plus 24 tonight, just hounding the ball defensively. Warriors throwing him on Fred VanVleet. He's kind of a streaky three-point shooter, but 11 assists. So the ball was moving. The Warriors had a season-high 40 assists as a team, 14 turnovers. You're thinking after the first couple of possessions tonight as the Warriors turned it over back-to-back times, is this going to be a situation where it's a lot like the Memphis game, and are the Warriors going to have the turnover problems potentially plague them throughout the night? But 14 turnovers overall, it's probably 1 or 2 more than you really want to have, but when you have 40 assists, the assist-to-turnover ratio is off the charts. You're talking about over 3 getting into the 3.5 to 1 type of a range when you look at that, or getting close to that 3 to 1 kind of a range. And so when you have that total with the 14, and you're approaching that 3 to 1, not quite 3 to 1, but you're in pretty good shape. And the ball was moving tonight, and I think DiVincenzo gets a lot of credit for the ball moving tonight. I think Draymond, as always, gets a lot of credit for the ball moving tonight. And, of course, Steph Curry, the straw that stirs the drink for the Warriors. But, Dante DiVincenzo in the game to close it tonight. Steve Kerr, I don't think any specific message other than just trying to put the best possible group on the floor to try and win a game. And we've talked about this a lot, the fact that the Warriors know when they're fully healthy, and Andrew Wiggins didn't play tonight, but when the Warriors are fully healthy, they know that they have a fifth spot, basically, after you get through Steph and you get through Clay and you get through Draymond and Andrew Wiggins, who was unavailable tonight. The fifth spot in the finishing lineup could vary on different nights. It could be Jordan Poole on a certain night, and we saw Jordan Poole with the game-winning layup and a great cut on Zaire Williams in the game against Memphis, and a great pass from DiVincenzo to hit him for that layup, and the Warriors go on to win that game the other night, a big win. And so, some nights it's Jordan Poole. Some nights it's Kevon Looney, who tonight was in foul trouble for a good chunk of the night, but against bigger teams, the Warriors may want to go with the stabilizing, the screen-setting impact of Kevon Looney, and we've seen them do that in the playoffs before to close out games, and it's helped them to some big postseason wins. We all know Kevon Looney's a 16-game player, as they say, somebody that can really make an impact in the playoffs. So, box checked where it could be Kevon Looney. I think there's nights, and tonight is a night where Jonathan Kuminga makes his case to potentially on certain nights be out there to close games. Jonathan Kuminga was terrific in the second half, and I think he could throw his hat in the ring as far as players that might have an opportunity to be the fifth. So when it's all clicking for the Warriors, they've got the four that they know are going to be out there, and then the fifth could be any number of players. I think at this point there's a case to be made. It could be Poole, it could be Looney, it could be DiVincenzo, hell, it could be Jonathan Kuminga from time to time. And Kuminga with the 4 consecutive three-pointers, that was a huge moment in the game tonight, swinging the game from close to giving the Warriors a little bit of separation. And the Raptors were flat out daring him to shoot, especially the corner threes. That's something where a lot of teams will give on that and help off of Jonathan Kuminga, because throughout the course of his career to this point, he hasn't consistently shown that he has the ability to knock down that shot. But tonight he was confident, and he typically is confident in shooting that shot especially. That's a shot in the context of the Warriors offense that he could get a lot, and if he gets good at, look out. Rest of the NBA as far as Jonathan Kuminga goes, because that opens up everything. If teams have to start scrambling out to defend Jonathan Kuminga with his athleticism when they're already in scramble mode because they're helping off of him, which is the reason he's that open. And if teams start running back at him, then he can put it on the deck. And we all know when Kuminga puts it on the deck, not with ball pressure and a defender around him, but he can put it on the deck with an advantage because the defense would be in scramble mode. And that's where he can, put his head down, get ahead of steam, and get a dunk on somebody or get fouled. And he's become more of a willing passer as well. So that shot is just, if he could make it relatively consistently, is big-time kryptonite to the way other teams want to attempt to defend the Warriors. So Kuminga did all the other things that he has done of late as well. Putting pressure on the rim, good defense. The Warriors have carved out a nice little role for Jonathan Kuminga, and Kuminga has been, to his credit, able to execute it and picking up right where he left off, starting to become a factor for this Warriors team and continuing to be one now in his return from the injury. And I think that's a great sign. So big-time sparks from both DiVincenzo and Kuminga. And you look at JaMychal Green, and I was kind of thinking about this before we get to JaMychal Green. I was having the thought that, for all of the talk about the Warriors' top 4, and we know that, and the top 6, and DiVincenzo's had an incredible, really last couple of months. I mean, he's been a really productive player for the Warriors, almost going back to November, the end of November when he came back from the injury. He's really added, he's added IQ, he's added ball hounding defense, he's added just a player that's willing to pass, that can knock down some threes depending upon the night, and just an intelligence level that I think that this Warriors team, he's shown us all why he is a Warrior style of player, and why the Warriors would have been quick, and they were quick to try and snap him up when he became available, and because of some of the injuries to this point of his career, he was available at a price point that fit what the Warriors were looking for, and they snapped him up quick, and he obviously was willing to come, because I think he views himself as a bright lights player and a playoff player, and somebody that can make a nice little payday for himself potentially elsewhere if he can help the Golden State Warriors make a deep playoff run or contend for an NBA championship. So he's really, as the games have gone on and he's played more and more, given the Warriors a hell of a boost, and tonight was no different with the 11 assists and the defense and all of that. And the thought it led me down the path toward was the fact that the Warriors' top 8, for as maligned as this team has been, and you look at 25 and 24 and you're thinking, man, this whole calculus of the season would be different if this team even had 3 more wins. I mean, if they were 28 and 21 right now, they'd be 3rd in the West. Yeah, they'd be behind Memphis at this point and Denver. But I think the belief would be that hey, this team is fine. They're have treaded water throughout the first half plus of the season. They're getting healthier. They know it's go time, at least almost go time once you get past the All-Star break, and everything's fine. Now, they still have to make up that ground, and it's been fits and starts, and there's been some bad losses, and every time it looks like the Warriors are about to really push, they haven't been able to do it. I mean, let's be honest, they've only been 2 games over 500. That's the high watermark that the Warriors have had this season, is 2 games over 500. So they still have to show that they can get to, let's say, 3 games over 500 before we can see them get to 10 or more above that mark. But I was starting to think about the fact that the top 8 really is becoming solidified with Donte DiVincenzo as the 7 and finishing tonight, and the Warriors didn't have as many issues tonight closing out the game down the stretch as they've had with other iterations of closing lineups. And I don't want to make this about Jordan Poole versus Donte DiVincenzo or anything like that. Jordan Poole hit the game-winning shot the other night. Jordan Poole's helped the Warriors for as much as the fan base has been on him at times. He's helped the Warriors win a few games, more than a few games this season with a positive imprinting. And a lot of those games in the 6 and 5 stretch where Stephen Curry was out, and if they go 3 and 8, or go 2 and 9 in that stretch, we're having a completely different conversation about the trajectory of this Warrior season and where they stand. You talk about 3-4 game swings, and well, what if this team was 28 and 21? Well, the flip side to that is what if they were 21 and 28 at this point and near the bottom of the Western Conference and still trying to claw their way out to an even higher level. But when you start to look at it, and things come together, and the wins ultimately have to follow. Like, you can't just sit and say, and I went in on this a lot over the last couple weeks, you can't just tell me everything's fine when you're losing games. But if this team can start to win games, I think there is a belief that maybe the top 8 is becoming solidified to a point where it's Steph and Clay, it's Wiggins and Draymond, it's going to be Kevon Looney, and then Jordan Poole is the 6, Donte DiVincenzo as the 7, and then Jonathan Kuminga is starting to solidify himself as the 8th man. And then you look at JaMychal Green, who in the 3 games since he's come back from originally I think it was the health and safety protocols for COVID, and then got the leg infection, which I believe it put him in the hospital, I think was reported for a short period of time. And he's come back and played well, and he sparked the Warriors tonight. And I think in a perfect world, when you look at this roster, as it's currently constituted with the players they have, without going out and making a trade, without going out and I feel like JaMychal Green would be the 9th if he played at the level that he's played in these last 3 games and played the way that he played tonight, somebody that could just kind of be rugged a little bit in the paint, knock down an open 3, defend some different types of players and help you rebounding and help you a little bit offensively and be kind of a positive energy guy. And it just hadn't been there for whatever reason. But I even think JaMychal Green we're starting to see is the player in line to be the 9th on a night where James Wiseman, with Kevon Looney picking up 4 fouls in the first half, gets a DNP coach's decision for the night. And I know we'll hear from Steve Kerr coming up, and he addressed Wiseman not playing again. And I don't want to make tonight about Wiseman not playing either, because I think if this team's playing to the fullest of the capabilities and JaMychal Green's playing well, Wiseman's probably not seeing the floor anyway. But again, big picture, you're starting to see what a playoff rotation could look like start to take shape. And if the wins follow, I think maybe we're having a little bit of a different conversation about what the Warriors have to do between now and the trade deadline, what the Warriors maybe have to do on the buyout market, and some of these signings are starting to potentially fall into place. The Warriors are still having to work pretty hard to win a lot of these games, harder than they've ever had to work. So it's something to keep an eye on, and I don't want to anoint any team back that sits at 25 and 24 and 1 game over 500, but you're starting to see signs of what it might look like when the Warriors are the best version of themselves for this 2022-23 season. So 888-957-9570, 888-957-9570. It's John Dickinson here on Warriors Wrap-Up on 95.7 The Game as the Warriors win it 129-117. So 2-1 on the homestand and now 25-24 overall. And where does that leave the Warriors as you take a quick look at the NBA standings? Crazy how the standings have fluctuated. That gets the Warriors all the way up to 7th tonight with the win. So the win puts the Warriors at 7th, 25-24. They're a half game back at Dallas, and they are a game back right now of the Clippers, who sit in 5th, and the Clippers are actually now tied with the Pelicans for 4th. So the Warriors are a game out of 4th in the Western Conference, and they're only 3 games back of Sacramento, who sits at 27-20, and the Kings are about to begin a 7-game road trip tomorrow in Minnesota. They've got a couple of games against the Timberwolves, and so I think every one of these teams below Sacramento, directly below them, whether it's the Pelicans, who haven't been healthy and have dropped 6 in a row, the Clippers, the Mavs, the Warriors, the Suns, I think all of those teams view Sacramento being the 3 team as unproven as they are as a target and as a team that can get got and can be picked up if you can win, not 2 in a row and then lose 3 and then win a couple and then lose 1, and then you can't sit around 500 or 1 below, 2 over. But if you can actually go 8-3, 10 and 4 over a stretch, you might be the 3 seed. Like, that might be all it takes to put yourself in position where you can be the 3 seed moving forward, and it's going to be a wild finish. I don't think there's any doubt with all of these teams separated by so little. I mean, the 4 spot and the 13 spot are separated by 3 games. So I think that tells you all you need to know. And again, I'm cautious to start anointing the Warriors as back and having this whole thing put together, because every time we've thought that, then they wind up taking a bad loss, or they lose 3 out of 4, and then they can't quite, as Matt Steinmetz likes to say, get off the hamster wheel and make that push back toward separating themselves from that 500 mark. So 888-957-9570, 888-957-9570. Xfinity Mobile text line is open. We'll hear from Steve Kerr as the Warriors get the job done here, 129-117, and you heard it right here on 95.7 The Game.
We've got you covered in a Toyota certified used vehicle. Let's go! Toyota's factory seal of approval ensures you get the best pre-owned Toyota. All certified Toyotas pass a rigorous inspection, come with exceptional warranties and roadside assistance. Shop your Toyota dealer's great selection today. Toyota Toyota certified used vehicles. The best new cars make the best used cars. See your local Toyota dealer for certified warranty and program details.
Did you know Nissan EVs have traveled 8 billion miles? Just a quick trip to Pluto and back. And what did we learn along the way? Well, that an EV can take on the world, like the Nissan Leaf. It can move racing forward and take your breath away, like the all-new Nissan Ariya. We learned to make EVs that electrify. 8 billion miles driven by Leaf owners globally since 2010. Ariya not yet available for purchase. Expected availability late fall, subject to change.
Nachos!
Hey, I'll take some.
And some Frank's Red Hot.
Nah.
You're just gonna eat these boring nachos with no flavor. Frank it up! Frank it up! This guy finally gets it.
It's the perfect blend of flavor and heat. Frank's Red Hot. I put that on everything.
Jackson Hewitt gets you your biggest tax refund guaranteed. Plus, get a chance to double your refund or win other weekly prizes with our Double Your Refund sweepstakes. File your taxes on the double at Jackson Hewitt. No purchase necessary. U.S. residents 18 or older who file a 2022 federal tax return ends 4/2/23.
Secrets, cover-ups, and strange phenomena.
UFOs and ideas that challenge reality itself.
My name is George Knapp. I dig into news stories that others can't or won't.
I'm Jeremy Corbell, and for some reason, people tell me things they probably shouldn't. And this is Weaponized. Follow and listen to Weaponized, a presentation of Jeremy Corbell, George Knapp, Dark Horse Entertainment, and Cadence 13 Studios. Available now for free on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your shows.
O'Reilly. When you need auto parts, O'ReillyAuto.com is just a few clicks away. We offer convenient options for you to get your parts quickly. Order online and pick up for free at your local O'Reilly Auto Parts store. We'll even bring it out curbside. Or you can have your parts delivered right to your door with free shipping on most orders over $35. Visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Hey y'all, this is your girl Cheryl Underwood, and I want to tell you something. My digestive system used to make me feel sluggish, but those days are over. Now I feel great. That's because I increased my fiber intake with the Metamucil 2-week challenge, and I'm still hooked. I just took Metamucil every day for 14 days, and it's really that easy. Metamucil traps and removes the waste that weighs you down, so you feel lighter and more energetic. Now I never want to go back to that heavy feeling. Are you ready for the Metamucil 2-week challenge? For a coupon and daily support, sign up at Metamucil.com today.
My ride smells just right, just right, just right, just right.
Y'all gotta try that Febreze car.
Just right, just right, just right. La 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 la. With up to 40 days of consistent scent. All over Febreze car clips right on your vent. You know my car's my happy place. Keep that smile on my face. When it smells just right, just right, just right. Yeah, breathe happy Febreze. La 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 la.
Hey, it's Joe Shasky from the Morning Roast, and every single day we're doing the Fast Five. Your opportunity as a Morning Roast listener to get in on the show with me and Bonte. 8:50 every single day.
Ryan in St. Louis, what's happening? You're on the Morning Roast Fast Five. What you got?
I think we should be incredibly optimistic about the 49ers' future when you consider how good our defense is.
Fast Five, presented by Xfinity. Supercharge your home with supersonic Wi-Fi. Unbeatable internet, only from Xfinity.
Thank you to all of the business owners who kept people employed during the pandemic. For all you've done, you may be eligible to claim the Employee Retention Tax Credit, a payroll tax refund from the United States Treasury Department, applicable to businesses who kept employees on payroll during the pandemic. The window is closing to claim your refund. Contact Paychex to see if you qualify. Paychex is proud to have helped more than 45,000 businesses secure over $9.2 billion in ERTC claims, an average of $190,000 per business. 50 years and thousands of experts in HR, payroll, benefits, and insurance. You may be eligible to claim the Employee Retention Tax Credit, a payroll tax refund from the United States Treasury Department, applicable to businesses who kept employees on payroll during the pandemic. The window is closing to claim your refund. Contact Paychex to see if you qualify. Visit paychex.com/ERTC to find out how Paychex can help you get additional cash into your business. Paychex.com/ERTC. Paychex.com/ERTC.
The following is an attorney advertisement. If you get sidelined by a workplace injury, the workers' compensation attorneys at Boxer and Gerson can help get you back in the game. Our team of skilled attorneys will fight by your side for the treatment and compensation you deserve. We care about justice for injured workers. That's what makes us Northern California's premier workers' comp law firm. Call Boxer and Gerson at 510-345-2341 or visit BoxerLaw.com for a free consultation. Boxer and Gerson, your life is worth the fight.
DiVincenzo with a steal. Took it away from VanVleet right at midcourt. Handoff Curry. Dribble drive down the lane. Finger roll. George Gervin like it's up and in. The Iceman cometh.
One of my favorite posters of all time. Him sitting on the block of ice.
Absolutely.
Now back to Warriors Wrap-Up on 95.7 The Game.
Tim and Tom on the call. Dante DiVincenzo making plays, and the Warriors with a big second half beating the Raptors 129-117. Back here on Warriors Wrap-Up from inside Chase Center. John Dickinson with you. 888-957-9570. That is the phone number to give me a call or shoot me a text. A couple of text messages to get to before we get to Steve Kerr in the post-game press conference here on 95.7 The Game. But looking at how the Warriors got the job done tonight, we dug into some of the individual performances as far as players playing well in the top 8 or 9 in the Dubs rotation starting to be potentially solidified. But I think the way the Warriors attacked this game specifically, really well executed as far as moving and cutting. The 40 assists, they beat the Raptors a lot on back cuts and got wide open layups and dunks. The 62 paint points, almost 50% of the Warriors' total points in this game came in the paint. And a lot of that comes from just the patience and the ball movement and all of that. And they needed it in particular in the first half because the Warriors didn't hit the 3-ball in the first half. And I think, yes, the defense was better down the stretch, and there was good energy from Kuminga and DiVincenzo. But in the first half, it was the paint points. They got enough of them when they needed them in the second half. But the biggest thing that flipped this game, I think, for the Warriors in the second half was the fact that they were able to knock down threes in the second half. 6 of 22 in the first half. And at that point, it was a game where the Raptors had a small lead. The Warriors made their push at the end of the half to take the 1-point advantage at the break. But in the second half, it was 12 of 19 from three and fewer overall 3-point attempts, just 43 attempts and 18 makes. And so a tick under 42%. The efficiency was better. The balance was better between getting inside and getting the paint touches and taking better 3-point shots and having the Warriors shoot closer to their typical percentages as the game went on. 888-957-9570. Couple of text messages momentarily. Let's get Mike on the phone lines, though, here on 95.7 The Game on Warriors Wrap-Up. What's going on tonight, Mike?
What's going on?
What's up, man? What's on your mind? Oh, we lost Mike there. All right, Mike. Well, appreciate it. Appreciate you trying. Couple of text messages to get to. Xfinity Mobile text line here. 510, solid win. Looney and Poole in some foul trouble, but the turnovers, Warriors did a much better job on the turnovers. But to me, 14 is kind of in that in between. I think Steve Kerr said 12 is like a perfect game. 12 or fewer is a perfect, or is a workable, livable margin. So 14 is a little bit more than that. But when you look at the fact that you get 40 assists to that, it works out pretty well. 415, the Warriors team is completely different when Kuminga can bring his size, youth, and athleticism. No doubt about it. No question about it. Jonathan Kuminga brings an element that the Warriors just don't have. I mean, somebody that can put his head down and get to the basket, and somebody that can finish around the rim once he gets there, and just the ability to, with his length and his energy when he brings it, and he's brought it over the course of the last month when he's been healthy, really month plus when he's been healthy, going back to, I think the back end of that trip that the Warriors were on before they came home for the holidays. And so you look at that, and he does make the Warriors more dynamic. There's no question about it. When you look at all the shooting and ball movement and the things that Draymond does. He just is another different type of player that helps to balance out everything that the Warriors do. And I think you could make a case that even DiVincenzo, with his IQ as kind of a glue guy and his willingness to pass and his ability to guard defensively, has really helped things as well. And so I think you have to like that. And I agree with the 415 as far as Kuminga goes. It's a different element. The 510 asking about Andrew Wiggins. Nothing to be too concerned about. The question was, should there be anything with Wiggins missing another game with the non-COVID illness? He warmed up before the game, and that was going to be determined as to whether or not he would play in this one. And so it sounds like he was close, questionable officially in the lead up, but went through the warm up, and tonight wasn't the night. So might as well give him the weekend and head to Oklahoma City, and then you get him back out there on Monday, preferably, because the Warriors are going to need him because the games are going to start to come a little bit faster with Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then right back at Chase a week from tomorrow, Saturday, with the Mavs in town. And then there's really a lot of games between that stretch and the next week and a half before the Warriors hit the All-Star break on February the 14th. 888-957-9570. John Dickinson here on Warriors Wrap-Up on 95.7 The Game. The 480 says, hey, JD, Warriors have to take this energy on the road. Can't lose 3 of 4 and say you've turned a corner. Amen. Amen to that. Amen to that. And I think the Warriors have to bring that energy on the road without a doubt and bring just the purpose. The purpose has not always been there. They have won a couple of games, and then it's like, okay, they almost want to quickly get back into coast mode, and that doesn't necessarily work. Mike, we'll give you one more shot here, Mike, in San Francisco. You're on 95.7 The Game. What's going on, brother?
Line drop there. Talking about the game tonight, good win. Raptors, maybe record-wise, don't have a good record, but they're still a tough team. They're tough out. A guy like Siakam, who's always matchup nightmare, and they got talent like Barnes and Van Fleet. Kind of more the disappointing season then, but the Warriors needed to take care of their business here, and not having to drop off after a huge win after Memphis, not playing down to the level of competition, losing, coming off a good win like that. But Curry was Curry. Clay, I like the way he's grounded in form, but to me, Kuminga has really started to earn Kerr's trust here, and he's really emerging for that second unit there. I love what he's bringing. DiVincenzo has been a great pickup for that second unit. He should be in the closing lineup. There's no knock on Poole, but I just love what that guy brings. He's reliable closer, and I think he's earned Kerr's trust there to be in that closing lineup there for all the games that are going towards the repeat here. So and even a guy like Green, they need more of that like him off the bench. But overall, like what they had tonight, but can they do this on the road? I know they had a winning road trip before the homestand here, but they got 3 games here. I would love to see him go ideally 2-1. 3-0, I don't see that happening, but 2-1. You don't want to revert back to form here now after some good stretch here and go 0-3 on a road trip, because that would be just a major bummer here. So we're going to see now coming off this 3-game road trip with 3, I think, formidable teams here. Even Oklahoma City, they may be a young team, but they're tough, man. They play hard, and Gilgeous-Alexander is one of the underrated stars in the NBA. So a 2-1 has got to be the goal for this team. We're going to see if they don't revert back to form, because if they go 0-3, or they really struggle and look bad and go 1-2, it's going to be the same, the problems they've been having going forward. So thanks for the time, man.
Appreciate it, Mike. I think you're spot on with that. And, yeah, the Thunder are going to come into that game on Monday, and they may play another game between now and then. I hadn't checked on that, but they are 20. They're only a game off where the Warriors are, and they're in 11th. They're on the outside looking in at this point as far as where the Warriors are looking at. And so, yeah, I mean, it's a scenario, and it looks like they've got the weekend off as well. But you go through it, and you go 2-1, you might be 4th in the West or tied for 4th in the West. You go 0-3, you might be 13th in the West, depending upon what happens behind you. So it's a fine line. The other thing to keep in mind for the road trip is it's a young, energetic Oklahoma City team that the Warriors have not seen yet this year. And then it's Minnesota, who's been up and down. They've held it together, but they've been disappointing at times, and Karl Anthony Towns obviously has been out. But then you've got the second of a back-to-back in Denver, and that's the third game in 4 nights. That game's a non-nationally televised game as well, and we've seen the Warriors in the past rest their guys in Denver. So I think there's an added incentive on the first 2 games of the trip for the Warriors if you want to get greedy, because as you look at the back end of the trip, that Denver game has the potential to be a game where they rest a lot of the veteran players and maybe make it a developmental game. Not to say you can't win that game. We saw what they did in Cleveland, but more often than not this year when the Warriors have done that Cleveland game is the outlier. That's really the only game that the Warriors have been able to win when they've done that. They had a couple more last year, and it really helped them in some key moments. But I think you got to think about the first 2 games. A rested team with the weekend off, not playing tomorrow or Sunday in OKC. Get that one. Take your chances with Minnesota, who's been up and down. You kind of don't know what Minnesota you're going to get. Warriors blew them out there in November. And then the Denver game, you kind of see where you're at from there. But I think there could be some potential for the Warriors maybe that's the one where they might sit some of the guys down if the past history has been any indication. All right, let's hear a couple of minutes of Steve Kerr as he met with the media downstairs here inside Chase Center following the Warriors' 129-117 win.
Steve, you talked about pregame, how you guys had to move the ball and make their defense move with how much they switch. You had a season-high 40 assists. Do you feel like you pretty much stuck to that blueprint tonight?
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, the ball was moving, and you have to do that against this team. They're too good with their switches and just staying in front of dribblers, and so you got to attack them with the pass and with cutting. And I thought we did a good job of that.
62 paint points, and I say this, only 43 attempted threes. Was that concerted to get to the rim more tonight?
It wasn't something we put on the board or anything, but it when you move the ball and you cut, you're going to get some openings, especially with the type of pressure they put on the perimeter. They're not a huge shot blocking team. They're more of a steals team, forced turnover team. But if you can execute and get the ball into the paint, there's openings in there. So I liked the way our guys attacked.
What did you think of Jonathan Kuminga going 4 for 4 on threes in the third quarter? And how much do you want that shot to be a part of his toolbox? Yeah,
that corner three is a big shot for him. I think it's it's an effective weapon for him. With his speed and explosiveness, we know he can get to the rim and score. But if he can space the court and hit that corner three, that's a big deal. And I thought that was a big swing in the game when he made those 3 or 4 in a row.
What did you get from Dante tonight, Steve?
Dante was fantastic. Again, he's had such a great stretch now over the last 6-8 weeks. He just competes. He's just a guard. He's not a point guard, not a 2 guard. He's just a basketball player. He had 11 assists, moved the ball beautifully, competes defensively. We put him on Van Vliet after Van Vliet got off to the hot start. And Dante has just been amazing for us.
Steve, JaMychal Green continues to play meaningful minutes as he become the first big man off the bench.
Well, every game's different, but JaMychal has given us good minutes now the last few games, and we know what he is. He's been in the league for a long time. He's very reliable. We like the fact that he can step out and make a 3. That's, as a 5-man, that's a valuable weapon in this league right now. But he's also got some physicality to him. He rebounds. He gives us a good kind of toughness on the inside. So, JaMychal's earning his minutes.
Coach, after the Celtics and the Nets game, I asked you about the late game offense. You had some struggles, so I don't want to be accused of being too negative. You guys have scored well the last 2 games. What's been the key to turning that around these last 2 games?
It feels like we took better care of the ball tonight. And when Steph plays like that, the whole game opens up, the whole floor opens up. He was brilliant. He looked like he had his pop back, getting by people, getting into the paint, and then moving it on from there. I mean, he had 11 assists, but he had a lot of plays too where he just pulled the defense in and then kicked the ball to someone else, and we were able to find open looks from there. So, Steph is always the key for us, and when he's playing at a high level like that, it makes the game a lot easier for everyone.
Hey, Steve. So with Wiggins out for the game and Looney, 4 fouls before halftime, how did you talk to your team about that? Like, how did they change their physicality and mentality going into that second half?
Change the starting lineup and then change the rotations accordingly. But we're used to this. I mean, it's there's injuries all the time, so it's there's not really much of a message or anything. It's just here's the plan and let's go.
You said you thought Steph looked like he had his pop back. Is that from pre-injury or just from the last few games?
Just from the road trip. I didn't think he was as sharp as he usually is on that trip. And I think just getting home, being home all week, getting some rest, sleeping in his own bed, all that, I think was helpful. And he looked really fast out there and under control and made good decisions too.
Steve, with Kevon Looney in foul trouble, and as you cycle through a few players at the 5, how come James Wiseman wasn't a part of that cycle?
We just decided to go with JaMychal. We thought about going with Wise, but JaMychal's been playing well the last few games, and so we gave him those minutes. But James could find himself out there next game. It's just day to day, and he's just gotta stay ready, which he will.
Steve, Jonathan's really confident in his ability to pretty much do anything on the floor. Do you feel like he has a chance to be a special two-way player in this league, kind of all-around guy?
Yeah, I mean, he's got the physical ability to be a hell of a two-way player. I mean, he can guard 1 through 4, and his with his ability to score around the basket. You saw the 3-point shots tonight, so that's why we drafted him. He's an exciting prospect, and he's getting better and better.
Circling back on Dante and his career high 11 assists tonight, he's been, in my opinion, the Swiss Army knife of your guys' team this year, and arguably in comparison to the Gary Payton II role from last year. And so how important is it for him to be able to make the big shot when he needs to make it and also find the open man like he did tonight?
Yeah, Dante's played a big role for us this year. You're right. He has kind of taken on Gary's role from a year ago, being our defensive guard who's coming in to, guard the best guy and play with a lot of energy. He's different from Gary because he's more of a ball handler and a playmaker. Gary played more like a finishing foreman around the basket. But Dante has just found a way to fit right in. I think, he played for a great college program at Villanova and great coach with Jay Wright. So there's an awareness of how we play, with the ball movement and the flow and the cutting. And he fits right into our group.
How it's going into tonight, the Raptors average the least amount of turnovers in the NBA. And the Warriors are one of the higher teams that average more turnovers. Was that something that you looked at going into tonight?
We talked about it before the game, that the whole key was taking care of the ball. They're a team that thrives on transition. And if you turn it over against them, they're so long and athletic, they're going to get out and score. So we turned it over twice in the first 30 seconds, I think. And then after that, did a pretty good job and made them have to score in the half court. And so we did a good job just kind of following the game plan and executing, and it's a great win.
Yeah, great win indeed. Steve Kerr there. Warriors get it done 129-117. And, yeah, turnovers are a big part of the Raptors game, and the Warriors able in a couple of matchups against them as they sweep the season series to not have turnovers be a prolonged issue for them. And the Raptors do have some players that give the Warriors fits. And OG Anunoby went out with an injury. I think it was a wrist injury when he went up on that dunk and got fouled. And it looked like maybe there could have been an arm or shoulder issue, but a wrist. And so Anunoby went out. But between him and Siakam and Van Vliet, all typically play excellent games against the Warriors. Scotty Barnes had a nice game against the Warriors. He looks like he's going to be a terrific player. Kind of a conundrum when you look at just the overall, and Toronto being 22-28 now as they leave this building. But the Warriors did the things that you need to do to beat the Raptors, and that's exactly why they were able to come out on top. And really after the quick 2 turnovers early in the first 2 possessions, the Warriors able to, for the remainder of the game, for the most part, able to control that, which allowed them to control the game in the second half. All right, that will do it for me. Appreciate everybody calling in and everybody texting in as the Warriors get the job done tonight. Be back with you tomorrow, 10 a.m. with my guy Whitey Gleason as we leave you from Chase Center, headed to Philadelphia. Off to the airport I go, and from Philadelphia we'll have Warriors this week from 10 a.m. until 1 here in the Bay Area. And then, of course, a big weekend of NFL football and NFL conversation with the San Francisco 49ers trying to get back to the Super Bowl NFC Championship game. As I will be on from Philadelphia before and after that one. So look for that and look for all our digital coverage as well at all of the social channels for 95.7 The Game. So thanks to Sterling Bennett. Thanks to everybody in our San Francisco studios. We'll talk to you at 10 a.m. tomorrow from the East Coast. Warriors get the win. They're next in action Monday from Oklahoma City. Warriors live at 4 o'clock for that one. Warriors and the Thunder at 5 Pacific time here on 95.7 The Game. So we'll talk to you tomorrow morning. Keep it locked right here on your home for Warriors basketball. It's 95.7 The Game.
The following is an attorney advertisement. If you get sidelined by a workplace injury, the workers' compensation attorneys at Boxer and Gerson can help get you back in the game. Our team of skilled attorneys will fight by your side for the treatment and compensation you deserve. We care about justice for injured workers. That's what makes us Northern California's premier workers' comp law firm. Call Boxer and Gerson at 510-345-2341 or visit boxerlaw.com for a free consultation. Boxer and Gerson, your life is worth the fight.
Walking into the building for the first time after the shooting, it was crippling, but it had to be preserved.
In response to the Pulse nightclub shooting that affected the LGBTQ community, Barbara Poma, owner of Pulse, founded the One Pulse Foundation to honor Pulse victims and survivors.
If you're an ally of this community, speak out. There are more of us together than apart. It is the power of love in its rawest form.
Join the fight for LGBTQ acceptance. Learn how at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council.
It's Thursday night and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool.